record.
All right, so we are going to have a seat on our mat today. So finding that comfortable seated position, whether the feet are crossed or legs are crossed, the feet can be on the floor, straight out, whatever's comfortable to you. Let the hands come down and start to close the eyes. Start to take those deep breaths. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Starting to feel that breath traveling throughout the body with the inhales. And then feeling it leave the body with each exhale. Taking these few moments to start to recognize the breath, to start to connect with the breath, seeing how it makes us feel when we really start to focus on it. Also take these next few moments to start to let the day go. Start to bring ourselves into our rooms and onto our mats. So take that time right now to just focus on that breath. Taking a few more deep inhales and exhales. Take one more big inhale in and exhale it all out. Feel free to start to open those eyes back up. Take those hands, place them under those knees, kind of give those legs a little help if we have them crossed. Take those feet, placing them flat on the floor. Place the hands kind of on the outside of the shin, a little bit close to the knees. But we're not going to push on those legs. We're going to do our cat-cows here in a seated position. So as we inhale, we're going to start to bring our torso forward, start to bring the gaze up. And as we exhale, start to round the spine and tuck the chin to the chest. Inhale, pushing ourselves forward, gaze going up. And inhale, round that spine, tuck that chin. Inhale, push that chest forward, gaze going up. Exhale, round that spine, tuck that chin. Inhale, pushing that chest forward, gaze going up. Exhale, round that spine, tuck that chin. We'll do it one more time. Inhale, push that chest forward, gaze going up. And exhale, round that spine, tuck that chin. On the next inhale, come back up to that neutral spine. Take those feet, bring them into that kind of crisscross applesauce, or if you want to kind of just tuck one shin in front of the other, feel free. Let the arms come down by the sides, and inhale, bring those arms up. And on an exhale, take that left arm, drop it down to the mat, and fold over that side. Take those deep inhales and exhales. And on our next inhale, we're going to lift ourselves back up, bringing that left arm up. And on the exhale, drop that right arm down and fold over that right side. Taking those deep breaths here. Stretching out those ribs. And then filling all those spaces with each breath. And then on that next inhale, bring ourselves back up, lift that right arm up. On the exhale, turn those palms, let those arms come down. We're gonna take those hands, let them rest on those knees. We're gonna start to circle the torso. So starting in one direction, you're just gonna circle around those legs. And then when we get back to that center, we're gonna circle in that opposite direction. So switching back and forth with each circle here. And as we exhale, we're going to go into that circle and coming back center, we'll do that inhale. And on the exhale, twist or circling to that other side. Inhaling here. And on the exhale, start that circle. We'll do it one more time on each side. Circling on that exhale to that opposite side. And last one here, taking that inhale. And on that exhale, circle over to that other side. And come back, center. And we're going to start to lift those shoulders up and rolling them back. On an inhale, lifting the shoulders up and exhaling them back. Inhaling up and exhale back. Inhaling up and exhale back. Couple more of those rolls going backwards. Inhaling up and exhale back. And inhale up and exhale back. Let those shoulders drop, kind of wiggle those arms out. And then on an inhale, bring those shoulders up and exhale, let them come forward. Inhaling up and exhaling forward. And inhale up, exhale forward. Inhaling up and exhale down. Inhale up and exhale down. We'll do one more, inhaling up and exhaling down. And then let those shoulders come and relax. Just kind of give them a little wiggle here. Wiggle those arms out. And then we're going to make our way onto our hands and our knees. So take a moment to line those knees up under those hips. Wrists are right under those shoulders. And once we feel lined up, we're actually going to take those knees, step them just slightly forward, and then take the wrists or the hands, rotate them so they're pointing back at those knees. And then shift those knees back over under those hips. And just kind of take a second here to start to feel the stretch in the backs, or in, I guess it'd be at the backs of the arms, even though they're pointing forward right now. This is a good stretch to do. We type a lot. This helps stretch out those arms. And if we want to add a little bit to this stretch, we might not even need to. Just staying straight up and down here might just be enough for us. But if we want to try to get that little extra stretch without it being painful, you can just start to shift those hips just slightly back so you get that little extra stretch. Try to let the hands relax onto the mat, trying to let those fingers not grip down. Take a few deep breaths. And then start to shift those hips back forward. And we're going to move those hips over to that left side, just slightly putting that extra pressure into that thumb pad and into that pinky side of the right hand. Again, not shifting very far here. And then rolling over to that right side, so shifting to that thumb pad and that pinky side of that left hand. Not needing much to get that extra stretch. Take those deep breaths. And shifting back center. And in order to come out of this, we're going to take those knees, walking them forward a little bit farther this time. And start to roll back onto those feet tops, letting those hands gently come up. Roll those wrists up, slowly turn the hands around, let that blood come back, let those wrists come back awake. You need to let the arms just kind of come down by the side. Feel free to make those fists and then straighten the fingers, whatever you need to do right now. That's a lot on those wrists. And when you feel ready, we're going to take those hands, placing them back down onto the mat, lining everything back up one more time. And then we're going to tuck those toes behind us, start to lift those hips up towards the sky, come into a down dog. And take a moment here to pedal those feet out, lifting one heel, dropping the other. Taking our time, going back and forth here. Stretching out each side. Maybe one side needs a little bit extra love than the other side, so feel free to hold as long as necessary. Remembering to take those deep breaths. And then let those legs come to stillness. We'll take one breath here. And then on an inhale, walk those feet up to the hands. Folding ourselves over the legs with a bend in those knees. Let that head hang here. And then take those hands, placing them on the thighs. Slowly start to roll ourselves all the way up to standing. Stacking those vertebrae as we come up, taking our time. Bringing that head up last, roll those shoulders down the back. Let the hands come by the sides, close the eyes. Take a deep inhale in and exhale it out. Opening those eyes back up. We'll inhale, bring those arms up. We're going to take those hands, clasping them together here at the top. Rotate those wrists so those palms are pointing up towards the sky. And then just push those hands up. Stretching all throughout those shoulders. And then take a moment to bend those shoulders. And let the hands just rest on top of the head with those palms up. And then push those arms back up. Stretching those shoulders. And then letting those hands come back down to rest on that head. And then one last time, pushing those arms up. And then let those wrists rotate, bringing those palms back down. Release the hands. Exhale those arms down. Taking the hands behind the back, interlacing those fingers. And as we exhale, we're going to start to hinge at those hips and fold straight down, keeping those hands together. And then stretching those shoulders down here at the bottom, lifting those arms away from the body as far as is comfortable on those shoulders. Let that head hang. Try not to lift it to put any strain in that neck. Take a few deep breaths. And then exhale, let those arms slowly float down. And then let that head hang one more time. Take a deep breath. And we'll inhale again, slowly rolling ourselves all the way up. Stacking everything one more time. Bringing that head up. Roll those shoulders down. Let the arms come by the side. Again, taking that deep inhale. And exhaling out. On the next inhale, we'll bring the arms up, gaze going up towards those thumbs. As we exhale, open those palms out wide. Start to hinge at those hips. Swan dive over the legs. Inhale, slide those hands, come halfway up. Exhale, folding forward. On the next inhale, step those feet back to that high plank or dropping down onto the knees. As we exhale, come all the way down onto that mat. Untuck the toes. Inhale, lifting that chest. Exhale down. On our next inhale, we're going to come back to down dog. Taking a breath here. And on the next inhale, walk the feet up to the hands. Folding over the legs. And inhale, come all the way up. Bringing those arms. Exhaling them down. Inhale the arms up. Gaze going up towards those thumbs. Exhale, open those palms out wide. Swan dive over those legs. Inhale, slide those hands, come halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, step back to that high plank or onto those knees. Exhale, come all the way onto that mat. Untuck those toes. Inhale, lift that chest. Exhale, down. Inhale, push back to down dog. Taking that breath here. And on that next inhale, walk the feet up to the hands. Fold over the legs. And inhale, come all the way up. Exhale the arms down. Inhale the arms up. Gaze going up towards those thumbs. Exhale, open the palms out wide. Swan dive over the legs. Inhale, slide those hands, come halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, step back to that high plank or dropping down onto those knees. Exhale, come all the way down. Untucking those toes. Inhale, lifting that chest. Exhale, down. Inhale, step back or push back to down dog. We'll hold this down dog for a couple extra breaths. So feel free to cuddle those legs out. Taking your time if they still need to wake up a little bit here. Or use this time to refocus on the breath. Maybe we've lost it a little bit. I'm trying to catch it right here. On our next inhale, we're going to lift our right leg with a bend in the knee. As we exhale, shifting that leg forward, dropping that foot between the thumbs. And as we're down here, we're going to take that left foot, hop it forward, maybe a foot or two length, and then rotate that heel so it's down on the mat and those toes are pointing off to an angle. We'll take those hands on that front thigh, give ourselves a little assist up. Once we're in our standing pose here. We can adjust the feet if we need to. Make sure those hips are pointing nice and forward. Bend in that front knee, pointing or straight over that ankle. And inhale, bring those arms up. And take a few deep breaths. Relaxing those shoulders down so we're not shrugging them into the ears. Sitting comfortably in this pose. Feeling the weight in all four corners of that front foot and sealing back down that edge of that back foot. Taking a few more deep breaths. And on the next exhale, we'll let those arms come down, placing them on those hips. Taking that back foot, rotate so we're up on those toes, and then step that front or back foot forward. Take a moment to kind of toe heel those feet so they're about hip distance apart from each other. And we're going to start to sink those hips down just like we're going to sit into a chair. So we're going to start to sink down. As we sink down, swinging those arms forward so they're right alongside the head, placing all the weight into the heels and tucking those tailbones. We're going to hold this pose for a few breaths with a few different arm variations, so get comfortable. If at any point you need to start to straighten those legs up a little bit, feel free. We'll hold here for a couple breaths. And then we'll slowly start to open those arms out wide, coming straight out from those shoulders. Holding this for a couple breaths. Remembering to place that weight in those heels, tuck those tailbones. And then we're slowly going to start to rotate that upper body towards that right leg, opening those legs, or opening those arms. Twisting here at the top. Taking a few breaths here. And then we'll twist back forward and exhale, come up, let those arms come down and shake everything out. And then we'll move to a balance pose on this side. So keeping that right leg as our planted leg, letting those arms kind of float out. So they help with that balance. Finding that spot on the floor in front of us that's not moving. We're slowly going to start to roll up on those left toes. Bringing that knee to the chest. Holding here to get that balance. And then open that hip wide. Take that foot, either placing it on that calf, taking a hold of that foot and placing it on that inner thigh. Or if our balance is a little off, we can slide that foot down so those toes are just tapping on the mat. Wherever we're at, we're opening those hips up nice and wide. And when we feel have our balance, take those arms, shifting them up, kind of coming up at an angle so we're not straight up and down here, out at that angle at those shoulders. And hold here, concentrating on that breath. Using these balance poses to focus on the breath. And again, at any point, if we fall out of that pose, we can always get back in. Taking one more breath here. And exhale, let everything come down, let that leg come down and shake it all out. And Coming back to the top of our mat if we've moved. We'll inhale, bring those arms up, gaze going up towards the thumbs. Exhale, open those palms wide, swan dive over those hips. Inhale, slide those hands coming halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, step those feet back to that high plank or dropping onto those knees. As we exhale, come all the way onto the mat. Untuck those toes. Inhale, lift that chest. Exhale, down. Inhale, push back to down dog. We'll hold this down dog for one breath. And on our next inhale, we're gonna lift that left leg, this time with a bend in the knee. As we exhale, shifting that foot forward, dropping it between those thumbs. Taking that moment while we're down here to take that back foot, helping it that foot length or so forward, and then rotating that heel so it's down on the ground, and those toes are pointing off at that angle. Take those hands on that thigh, slowly give ourselves that little help up. Again, once we're in that standing pose, we can adjust everything as we need to, making sure those hips are pointing nice and forward. That front knee has that bend with it right over that ankle. And we'll inhale, bring those arms up. Again, relaxing those shoulders down as those arms are up. And taking those deep breaths here. Holding for a few more breaths. And we'll exhale, let those arms come down to those hips. Take that back foot, rotate so we're up on those back toes, and step that foot forward. Take that time to adjust those feet so they're about that hip distance apart. And we'll start to sink those hips down like we're gonna sit into that chair. And swing those arms forward so they're alongside that head. All that weight's in those heels and tucking those tailbones. Taking those deep breaths here. Again, holding this pose for a couple different variations. So again, at any point, if you need to straighten those legs or maybe do a little shimmy and then come back down, feel free. We'll slowly start to open those arms out wide. Those arms are coming straight from those shoulders. Taking those deep breaths. Remembering to always tuck those tailbones, making sure that weight's in those heels. And then slowly starting to rotate that upper body towards that left side, keeping those arms nice and open, and taking those deep breaths. Holding for just a couple more breaths here. Rotating back, forward, and inhale, come up, and shake those legs out. Shaking those arms as well. And then moving to that balance on that other side. So this time that left foot's that planted leg, letting those arms kind of float out to help with that balance. Finding that spot on the floor that's not moving. Starting to roll up on those right toes. Lifting that foot up off the mat, bringing that knee to the chest. And then opening that leg out wide to the side. Take that foot, place it either on the calf. Take hold of that foot, placing it on that inner thigh. Or again, if that balance needs a little help on this side, slide that foot down with those toes tapping on the mat. Those hips are open nice and wide here. When we feel ready, we'll bring those arms up. Letting those arms come open wide here so we're not straight up and down. And taking those deep breaths. Again, using these balance poses to help us focus on that breath. Holding for just a couple more here. And then we'll exhale, let those arms come down, let that foot come down, and shake it all out. And then coming to the top of our mats if we've moved away. Inhale, bring those arms up, gaze up towards those thumbs. Exhale, open those arms out wide, swan dive over the legs. Inhale, slide those hands, come halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, step those feet back to that high plank or dropping down onto those knees. Exhale, coming all the way down. Untucking those toes. Inhale, lift that chest. Exhale, down. Inhale, push back to down dog. Taking a couple breaths here. And anytime in this down dog, feel free to pedal those feet out. Or use the opportunity to catch the breath if you've lost it. Holding for a couple more breaths here. On our next inhale, we're going to lift our right leg with that bend in the knee. As we exhale, shift that foot forward, drop it between those thumbs. Take that back foot, this time rotate it so that foot is parallel with the mat, dropping that knee down. Taking those hands on that thigh, slowly giving ourselves that little help up. And we can always adjust those feet once we're standing so that front heel is about in line with the middle of that back foot. And those hips are pointing to the side this time, putting that bend in that front knee, letting those arms come out over those legs, gaze over that front middle finger, and let those arms relax down the back, keeping those shoulders relaxed. Trying to keep those arms nice and even with each other so we're not dropping them down. Holding here for a couple breaths. Feeling strong and steady again in this pose, sealing down the back foot and all four corners of that front foot. Hold for one more breath. And exhale, let those arms come down. We'll straighten out that front leg. Take those arms back over those legs. And then we're just going to start to shift that upper body over that front leg and then tilting ourselves down. So that left arm's coming straight up to the sky. That right hand can be kind of right against that shin, or you can rest it right on top. The gaze is either up at that thumb, down at the front foot, or at the side, depending on where the neck feels comfortable. And we're trying to keep those shoulders stacked on top of each other and not letting that rotate down. Those inner thighs are rotating in towards each other. And taking those deep breaths. Holding for a couple more breaths here. We'll slowly start to put a bend in that front knee, bring ourselves back up, let that arm drop down. Take that front leg, straightening it again, rotating that foot so it's parallel with the mat. Take a moment to line those toes up with each other. And then rotate those toes so they're pointing up at the corners of the mat. We'll inhale, bring the arms up. And as we exhale, we're gonna start to put a bend into those knees. Let those arms come down, bending at those elbows, coming straight out from the shoulders. And holding here for a couple breaths. Again, tug those tailbones in so we're not arching that back. Fingers are nice and wide here. Holding for just a couple more breaths. And inhale, pop ourselves up, bring those arms up. Take a moment here to rotate those feet so they're back parallel with the mat. And on the exhale, fold straight down between those legs. Let that head hang. Take a few deep breaths. Feel free to circle the head around here. Maybe shake it yes or shake it no. And then let it hang. And then we're going to take those hands, placing them right into that face, straightening those elbows. Start to walk those hands towards the front of the mat, rotating those feet so we're up on those back toes. As we inhale, step that back foot forward. And inhale, come all the way up. Bring those arms. Exhale them down. Inhale, bring the arms up, gaze going up towards those thumbs. Exhale, open those arms out wide, swan dive over the legs. Inhale, slide those hands, come halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, step those feet back to that high plank or dropping down onto those knees. Exhale, coming all the way down, untucking those toes. Inhale, lift that chest. Exhale, down. Inhale, push back to down dog. We'll hold this for just a couple breaths. On the next inhale, we're going to lift that left leg with that bend in the knee. As we exhale, shift that foot forward, dropping it between those thumbs. Taking that back foot, rotating it so it's parallel with the mat. Placing those hands on that thigh, bringing ourselves up. I'm going to shift around for you guys. Again, making sure those hips are pointing nice and sideways. That front heel is about in line with the middle of that back foot. Bend in that front knee. Take those arms out over the legs. Gaze over that front middle finger. And relax the shoulders down the back. Take those deep breaths. So we're sealing down that back foot. And again, that weight's in the four corners of that front foot. Holding for just a couple more breaths. And then we'll straighten that front leg. We'll keep the arms out, shifting that front torso over that left leg and dropping down. That right arm coming straight up towards the ceiling. That left hand is either placed on the inside of that shin or resting right on that shin. You can always have a bend in that front knee if you need to. Again, those shoulders are stacked, so we're not trying to rotate over that front leg. Gaze either up at the sky, at the side, or down at that front foot, whatever's comfortable on the neck. And rotating those inner thighs together. Take those deep breaths. We'll hold for just a couple more breaths here. And then slowly putting a bend in that front knee, bringing ourselves back up. Let those arms come down. Take that front leg, again, straightening it out, rotating so those feet are parallel. Taking that moment right here to line those toes up. We're gonna keep those toes parallel. Inhale those arms up. And on this exhale, we're gonna come halfway down, holding right here. If the arms need a little break or that lower back needs that extra break, you can take the hands, placing them right on those hips. Hold here for a couple breaths. And then exhale, fall all the way down, letting that head again hang. Feel free to circle it around or shake it yes or no. And then just let it hang. And then we'll take those hands right into that face, straightening those elbows. Start to walk the hands towards the front of that mat, rotating up on those back toes, and stepping that front foot back, this time to a down dog. Holding here for a couple breaths. Again, feeling free to pedal the feet out. Maybe take this time to notice the difference in the legs. Maybe they're a little looser than they were when we first started our practice. Maybe more fatigued. And take those deep breaths. And then slowly we're going to start to make our way down onto those hands and those knees. And then all the way having a seat onto the mat. Taking those legs, we're going to kick them straight out in front of us. And then rocking side to side. So we're up on those sit bones. Let the arms come down by the sides. Inhale, bring them up. And as we exhale, fold straight down over those legs, letting those arms just fall wherever's comfortable. You can always have a bend in those knees. Trying to keep as much length in that back as we can, so we don't want to round it over the legs. Almost as if we have that string pulling straight from the crown of the head. Taking those deep breaths here. Feeling that stretch down the backs of those legs, as well as in that lower back. Taking a couple more breaths here. And then taking those hands down by each of the legs, slowly start to walk ourselves back. Take the hands under those knees, kind of give those legs a little help up. Place the feet on the wide edges of the mat. Place those hands behind us. And whatever is comfortable on the hands, whether they're facing forward, to the sides, facing backwards. We're just going to let those knees fall side to side here. Taking our time, moving back and forth, letting those hips stretch out. Rotating through each direction. If you need to hold one side down a little bit longer, feel free. And then we'll bring those legs back up, walk those feet back center, and slowly start to make our way all the way down onto our backs. And let the arms rest down alongside the body. Take those feet, walk them in as close to the hips as we can get them. And then on an inhale, we're going to start to lift those hips up towards the sky and hold here for a few breaths. Trying to keep those knees over those ankles so you don't want those hips to widen out. Holding here for a couple breaths. And then exhale, let those hips come down. We're going to take the right foot or ankle, placing it on, the left ankle, placing it on the right leg. Start to lift that right foot up. Take a hold of that leg behind behind the, quad area, and then start to come back down. Bringing that leg in towards the chest, starting to feel a deep stretch on that inner left hip area. If we don't feel much of a stretch here, you can take those hands, place them on the outside of the shin, and start to bring that leg in. Or just start to pull the leg closer into the chest. Or the last thing we can do is take that ankle, that left ankle, and slide it in towards that right hip. Wherever you're at, take those deep breaths here. And we'll slowly release that leg back down, placing that foot on the mat. Uncross that ankle, place that right leg all the way down, and give that leg a nice little shake. And then take that left foot, placing it on the mat. And this time taking the right ankle over that left leg. Lifting that left foot up off the mat, bringing that leg into the chest, taking a hold behind that thigh, and start to lay back down onto the mat. Again, that stretch is deep in that right hip this time. We can adjust that stretch by placing the hands on the outside of that shin, pulling that knee closer in towards that chest, or sliding that right ankle more in towards that left hip. Again, wherever we're at, take those deep breaths. And we'll slowly release that leg back down. Uncross that ankle, let that right leg this time come all the way down to the mat and give it that wiggle. We're going to place the right foot back onto the mat, Take the arms out wide like that lowercase t. Placing both feet onto the mat, walking the feet over to that right side, and then shift those hips over. Bring those knees into the chest, and then dropping those legs down to that left side. Taking those deep breaths here. Feeling that twist all the way down the back. And then we'll slowly start to lift that top leg, follow it by that bottom leg, placing both feet down onto the mat. And this time walking those feet over to that left side, shifting those hips over, bringing those knees into the chest, and letting them drop to that right side. Again, taking those deep breaths here, feeling it all the way down that lower back. And on that next inhale, lifting that top leg, followed by that bottom leg. Place those feet back down onto the mat, walking them back center, shifting those hips. And then we'll take the legs, let them come all the way down onto that mat. Take those arms up overhead. And doing one final stretch here. Stretch those arms all the way up. Stretch those legs all the way down. Full body stretch, just like we're waking up in the morning. And then let it all fall down onto the mat. Let those legs fall to wherever's comfortable. Bring those arms down alongside the body. Start to close the eyes. Start to refocus on the breath. Feeling that breath move down the back of the throat, into the lungs, down each arm, and down each leg. Moving to those fingertips and toe tips. And then as we exhale, feeling it leave the body on that same path. Taking this time to start to clear the mind of any thoughts we might have. Release any tensions or stresses that we might be holding on to. Watching everything float away with each exhale. Allowing ourselves to sink deeper and deeper into our mats. Knowing that these next few moments are for you to not have to worry about anything, to not have to think about anything, Just be where you're at, relaxing into your mat. Start to bring a little life back into the body by wiggling the fingers and toes. Start to roll the wrists and ankles. Rock your head from side to side. Begin deepening your inhales and exhales. When you feel ready, slowly take one foot, place it on the mat, and follow it by the other foot. Slowly bringing one knee into the chest, followed by the other, grabbing hold of the legs, and rocking side to side. When you feel ready, slowly roll onto your right side. With your right side grounded by the earth, leaving your left side open to the sun, the moon, and the stars, and all the gifts the universe has to offer you today. When you feel ready, slowly come up to a comfortable seated position. We'll close the eyes one last time. Take the hands right in front of the heart. Take one deep inhale and exhale it all out. Thank you for sharing your practice with me this evening. I hope you have a great rest of your night. Namaste. Thank you.